The relationship referee. Okay, oh, here we go. Okay, whew. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right. The relationship referee. I don't like the sound of that. To be frank, he was so angry on that one. No, he's not angry. He's just rattled because keep in mind that I think he made that right after Charlie Kirk died. So of course everyone's gonna be rattled, including me, right? In a way. What, dude? Hello? Can I just please watch the video, please? Thank
I
you.
wanted to talk to
YouTube.
you a little bit about the like unfair power balance in relationships because I really related to your like real real review with Shaylin, but I kind of more related to you as a person who's pretty confrontational, and I feel kind of like guilty, and I feel really
I like her voice. She has a very pretty voice. As a certified gay person, okay. I am gay for this voice, but I digress. Okay.
unfair towards the other person because usually with my partners or friends, I need to take lead in the like conflict or conversation, but I'm also a side of this conversation too. And it feels pretty unfair because I cannot be like a referee and a side uh, on the conflict. And I don't know if you like, I would very, very much prefer if someone would tell me their boundaries and express themselves. And I don't know how to. I feel like maybe you could relate in some way. And did you
Foodshops words in action? No, I'm just expressing my gayness in a way that is not weird.
overcome it?
Hopefully.
Like, or
No.
maybe, yeah, okay.
Do you mean
Hopefully.
feeling like you have to facilitate the conversation while also somehow being...
The fact that she relates to MrGirl in that video makes me think she's psychotic. I sadly, yes, I think that's a pretty big red flag, but who knows? I don't know. I don't know how she operates. I don't know how she operates again. But the fact that you yeah.
being inside it?
Yeah. And also kind of like
Food aura farming per usual. What? Am I aura what? Aura farming. What does that even mean? Aura farming is whenever you commentate on a pretty voice, I guess.
walking on
True.
eggshells because I feel like other people are not as confrontational or maybe not as they feel really uncomfortable. Like if yeah, you probably tried to like bring up some conflict that you have with your friend, and it's extremely uncomfortable for them. They're like you see them, their whole like appearance changing, like they are just
Terrified.
like yeah. But for me, it's not that terrifying because it's like just a conflict, and I feel like the resentment is going to build up if we don't resolve it. And I don't like something like when I feel resentment if someone has it like towards me even a little bit, and I feel resentful sometimes. So
Yeah.
I think that it would be the best if we just talked about it, and I want to feel as an equal in a conversation.
Well, the problem with this is that you do not have the clearest mind at all times when you're talking about any given issue. Sometimes you want to wait for a conversation or to have the temperature of the conflict die down before engaging with the person again to resolve an issue. I think that unless you're willing to solve an issue with your partner and unless you're actually willing to be productive and take steps towards resolving an issue, there is no point to talking again. Like, for example, if you just want to scream at your partner instead of actually resolving anything, if you just want to scream and you just want to tell them how displeased with everything you are and how much you dislike everything as went down and how you have hurt their feelings, even though you feel the urge in that moment to do so, that will not make things better. It will make everything far worse and it could result in a breakup. So it's just far better to stand off for a while, and even though you feel the urge to resolve something, you stand to the side and you cool off, and then you return to being productive. Okay. But
Because if I'm a leader, I feel like I have to I cannot like bring us to the best resolution, because I'm obviously going to have a bias towards myself.
Right.
And yeah, which is very difficult for me in relationships, because if you have long-lasting friendships or like relationship, it's going to be a problem. Like we're gonna have some conflicts. We cannot
Mhm.
avoid everything, and I hate the
That
resentment.
feeling.
I usually try to be really upfront about it, and it kind of feels like sensitive. But I usually just say like I'm
You
feeling
both have great
resentful
voice.
about
Thank you.
this, and in my head, like when there is a normal thing, but you can have like a normal thing, and then something like something adds to this thing, and it becomes really like the source of resentment. I would want to, like the scenes in in movies when you have a husband that comes home and he's tired after work and he starts gaming, and his wife comes and she's like already feeling like he doesn't care about her, and she's like really aggressive. I feel like I would never want to be in this relationship that I have like resentment build up. So I try to bring it up like if I feel it, and it's pretty uncomfortable for everybody.
Yeah. Like you have to either fight or there's just going to be this constant sense of resentment.
Yeah, and I don't want to feel that. It's awful. Why would I want to feel that?
I agree. I think a lot of people are just really resentful and tamping down anger all the time. And so when you try to get them to engage in open conflict with you, if they do, it's like they would explode at everybody because
I don't know if it's weirded to ask MrGirl or Tiny relationship advice. I think on its surface, it seems crazy to ask them for any kind of relationship advice, especially from MrGirl or Destiny, considering how crazy their lives are and how crazy they conduct relationships and such. But whenever they give advice, like whenever Destiny or MrGirl gives advice, all right, they seem to be good advice. Like I'm not Yeah, like I'm actually surprised how good the device is actually, unironically. Um yeah. Like I don't remember the last time MrGirl gave a piece of relationship advice that I disagreed with. I mean, I guess we'll see. It depends on what he'll say here. But generally I am taken aback by some advice, I feel like, but I don't know. Yeah.
they're
Destiny has good advice, he just doesn't follow it. That's correct. Which is why typically whenever you tell somebody to do something or imagine something or try to solve an issue, I think the way you should approach some issues is picture as though you are talking to a third party, as if you are trying to advise your friend on what to do. So you have a friend that has described your exact scenario dealing with the exact same people, but treat yourself as like a friend who is trying to resolve the issue for another friend. In that case, what would you tell them? Right? I think that is a good strategy to also have, you know?
they're like that wife in the movie.
Yeah, and also
Yeah.
it's like if I ask someone like repeated amount of times, hey, are you okay with this? Hey, are you feeling resentful about this? And I know that they are not okay with something, but they do not want to tell me. I cannot force them. But then there's like some fight, right? And they are bringing up all of the shit that they are resentful with me. And I feel like it's pretty unfair to me, because like I asked before, but I cannot
Hypnoticals? I don't
force
know what that
someone to
means.
like confront me. I cannot confront someone to confront me. So it's pretty difficult, I would say. I'm not really sure how to resolve it.
Well, I think also you can get
Sounds like Ukrainian
either
Anna.
you can end up in a role
It does sound kind of Eastern European, but that's all I can
where
say.
the other person is becomes
know.
dependent on you to point out when they're angry.
Oh, I don't know if I'm in this. I feel like most like my friends, they love to avoid just they want to avoid conflict, but it never like goes away. Then there's like some little gossip with someone, and it's super fucking annoying because like why? I get it. And also, yeah, I mean, I've had one relationship like that, and it was very very draining for me when I would say, hey, I know that you're upset about it, and then I would make someone like kind of realize that they are, because they were behaving weirdly. And also I feel like this is very unfair, because I feel like I'm gaslighting someone, even though I feel like it's something is not okay. I cannot like force. Do you understand what I mean? Like, if I tell someone I know that you're upset at me, and they are like, no, I'm not, I feel like,
Or maybe they're just simply not upset at you. Yeah, like I guess one question I would ask is, how do you know that person is upset at you? Would be a question I would ask. How do you know? What are the warning signs? What are the warning signs that you're going to? What are you perceiving as contrary to that,
I'm
right?
gaslighting them that they are. But I think they are, and later, like after I'm walking on eggshells around like their barriers, and they break down, they're like, yes, I am. And I'm like, fuck. I knew it, but kind of if I was wrong, I would be super manipulative right now.
Well, maybe it's better to just say that you're feeling something.
Yeah, but oh, that's another thing. If the other person,
Sure.
like, this is a really big thing for me. If I'm upset and I want to confront someone, then they become upset, and now I am in the role of taking care of them being upset, even though I was the first person to bring some issue up.
Yeah. Yeah, what the hell? Yeah, I think that's the other
What?
downside of resentments is that everybody's already upset all the time, so that anytime
What the
conflict breaks
hell?
out, everybody has like 10,000 things that they're
Days.
already upset about.
Yeah.
But I do think that kind of trying to stay on your side psychologically, and like just because you think someone else is feeling something, I still think the best way to bring that up is to say, you know, I'm feeling anxious because
This sounds like a guy problem, to be honest. Yeah, I think girls, no, both genders do it. Like, both genders will sometimes hide shit, but that's not good. That means you're just not ready for a relationship. If you're not able to actually come to terms with how you feel, and you just push everything back down, or you push all of your negative emotions back down, that's also not good. It's not good to operate based off of feelings of resentment without resolution, but it's also not good to act upon charged emotions and to try to resolve problems when feelings are at a high, right? You have to try to find that middle zone. You have to try to find that moderate area where you just bring it up eventually the moment the feelings die down, and you ask them, hey, do you want to talk about this? And you say like, oh, hey, I'm not doubting your answer, but it's more like, I feel as though X and Y, because of the signs that you're giving me. The signs that you give me is that you give snide remarks, you're passive aggressive with me, you do these weird little microaggressions towards me, you say some weird stuff. So even though it seems as though you say that we have resolved this issue, it seems as though you still hold some resentment. Like, it seems like to me that you might hold some resentment towards me. So therefore, I was wondering if we could talk it out. I'm wondering if just in case we have anything there. But I don't want to presume, because obviously I don't want to be rude, right? So you generally want to be, kind of just honest about that, I guess. But
of how
yeah,
you're
okay.
acting rather.
That sounds like someone you shouldn't be talking to in the okay, yeah, but let's just say you've been with someone for 2 years and you live together. Like, obviously you want to talk it out, right? You're not gonna like fucking instantly like fucking
Then I'm feeling
Yeah, I
anxious
usually
because
I feel like I'm like traumatizing everyone who has been through like a fucking BBD relationship, or anyone who has been through some kind of crazy shit that went down. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry if this is bringing up horrible memories of people hiding their issues, or people hiding their resentment, or people hiding or you hiding your resentment, and or people not willing to communicate or something. Good luck, okay?
yeah. I mean, I have a system with my relationships, which is kind of weird. When like I think you're not gonna like this, but I have like logical stuff and emotional stuff. Like, if I feel like I have something to be upset about at my partner, then I will say that it's logical and emotional. So I feel bad, and also I
who
think he did something bad.
decides which is which?
Yeah, Yeah, I'm
Who defines this?
it's open to.
If you already ask them what's wrong and they don't respond, then you're already cooked. Yeah, a non-response might indicate the beginning of the end of a relationship. Like if you are trying to really try to make the relationship work, but they still make passive aggressive remarks and they still seem as though they are like, you can't prove it, right? It's like that meme. It's the meme of the person of like when you suspect something but you can't prove it. That is the worst feeling because you can be easily gaslit in that moment, but they could also accuse you of gaslighting the other way around, right? And you could feel as though you are absolutely insane. Like you could definitely feel as though you are crazy in that moment, right? But
Argue.
yeah,
I'm
it's too late. The tears are flowing. I'm
very
sorry.
open to argue if and then we start like negotiations if it's really logical. But this system is mostly because I sometimes feel like emotional about something that's not my partner's fault. It's just like I need reassurance. So I'm just saying
Who decides whether it's your partner's fault?
both. We just argue about it.
It feels like it's you.
I
Uh-oh.
don't think so.
I guess I'm
feel
saying it feels okay. You started the
Yep.
call. You started the
Giga
call
Chad,
with all the
Mr. Girl
downsides
moment.
of you having power. And the
Oh, yeah,
downsides,
yeah.
the downsides are that the other the conflict only happens on your terms. So the other person is silently resentful, and then the downside is you have to facilitate while also being in the conversation, so you don't feel really heard or empathized with. And then also every time you open a conflict, the other person has all this stuff that's been in the queue that they've wanted to talk about deep down but haven't been able to. So all this resentment floods out. Those are the downsides. But now it feels like we're getting to
Because
positives.
situations are different. Sometimes it's not that someone is resentful, but they are like they just maybe they are not resentful, but they are scared if I'm upset because it's like some of my friends, like close friends, they feel like their friendship is over. Like we're young, but yeah, our friendship is over because something went wrong or I felt uncomfortable or something. And after I like
I'm sorry, but that's a skill issue, okay? It means that they haven't experienced enough relationships or friendships enough where they feel as though just one minor mistake or one minor infraction and they feel like the entire friendship is over, right? One argument. I would say that guys in general practice this way better. Like guys have real disagreements, real fights, but then the next day they pretend as though nothing has happened. And then they get back together and they have a talk with one another. But I think that resentment does build up in both genders. It's just that guys are um they're much more like, okay, do you want to still hop on League of Legends? Let's just go and play League of Legends. I mean, who cares? I mean, that fight is like whatever, man. That fight is whatever. Let's just go and play League of Legends. Like, yeah, that's just kind of the way I look at it. But that's not necessarily good either, because again, a lot of guy friendships also do not work out, and they don't feel intimate or close because guys are too afraid to be more emotionally close with other guy friends, which is why it doesn't affect them as much either. But then because girls are willing to be more intimate with their friends is also why they have that built up resentment in the first place. It's like cost benefit relationships and whatever. But
break down those barriers, so I reassure them. Then we can talk normally, and that's the part that
yeah,
they can like.
makes you think.
It's very difficult to explain because it's and then
but again, it feels like you started out with the downsides of this dynamic, but then you're kind of glossing over what you get out of it, which is the power to define why things happen, whether something's just emotional or whether it's logical, whether the other person is at fault or whether they're not at fault. And you're saying that both people participate in this definition, but it sounds like you kind of wield the power more than the other person. There.
Yeah, but usually, I mean, that's what I'm scared of. Yeah, I would say that you're right, but it happened to me when I was younger and I couldn't regulate myself very well, because usually the unsatisfying part is that usually it's just the person is upset and I'm taking care of them and the conflict is over. So it's like I'm bringing something up, the other person gets upset, I'm taking care of them. Sometimes I can break down the barriers like around them feeling anxious about me being upset, and then I feel like it's a fair talk, but maybe I can be biased because I'm me, right? So yeah, it's difficult to navigate for me. Yeah,
if you have the power of definition, you might not be as regulated as you think. You might be depending on that power, even though you're complaining about the downsides. I think that if you
Interesting,
want,
yeah.
I think if you want to change this dynamic, you're gonna have to let go, specifically and consciously let go of the good things that you get from it.
But okay, but how would I ever talk about anything? Like if I feel that something is logical, because what I wanted to say is also like with this dynamic, a lot of the times I just feel emotional about something and I don't feel it's logical. Like my partner didn't do anything, but I felt maybe a little bit resentful, or maybe something was like a pattern that I don't know my parents did
I
or
think the
something.
thing you need to
and-
let go of is the idea that any of it is logical.
Yeah, I know. I know that you would say that. That's why when
Okay,
I
now I'm
first started talking
confused.
about it,
I don't know what he's
thought
saying
that maybe
now.
you wouldn't like it because you have a take, right, that we cannot like control our emotions. What was it? Was that your take or no? Or something similar?
I don't know.
Yeah, like we cannot ever like you know that is a myth to be like super regulated, and it's just maybe you're happy or just like on the spectrum of happiness, and when
I
you
don't think
crack,
there's
you
a
crack.
difference between feeling something and thinking something. I think all of your thoughts and
Really?
decisions, yeah.
I feel like there is a difference, but
I
maybe
think
it's
when you
because
hear the
I'm
sentence 2 + 2 = 8, your response is emotional. It's not, there's no difference.
really, but haven't you
Yeah, but that emotional response to 2 + 2 = 8 is like based off of a logical incongruency, right? Or
ever like have
like,
like
wait,
you
what?
had a feeling, but then you did something that
Huh?
was not really. Oh yeah, but you're gonna say that the other feeling, which is like I need to do something else, is also a feeling. So yeah, I feel like you can observe your emotions sometimes and just do nothing. And is it also an
The
emotion?
observation itself is
Yeah.
emotional.
Okay. Maybe yeah. I feel like it's a kind of like a language difference because I could say that I
No,
don't.
no, don't try it
Why not? I
because you
feel
will
like
lose.
really.
Yes.
It's just
Huh?
okay.
I think what you're saying doesn't make sense,
I feel like
regardless of the language you say it in.
yeah. If you yeah, with your position maybe. I don't know. No, I don't agree with this, but I understand your point of view. It's like being the observer is also an emotion for you, and for me, I just don't call it that because it feels extremely different from other emotions. But
But in
in
the
your point of view,
separation of emotion and logic, you get to decide why things happened and who is at fault and how things should be and how things are.
but I'm also
And is
like always
that
open
power
to be
that you're
convinced.
refusing to let go of, which is why you are stuck
How would you say to
being.
let go of it?
Well, on the other hand, like, how do you know? I just feel like she hasn't given enough information for me to actually make a take of any kind, right? Like, yeah, I just feel like she hasn't given enough information in the first place, which would make me question whether or not, like, if any of this is valuable to discuss right now, when there's just simply not enough information. Because she has yet to detail out any of the scenarios that she may or may not be applying it to. So I don't think you could reasonably make one of these. I don't fucking know. Whatever.
Well,
It
I think
doesn't
one
matter.
specific thing
care.
you could do is stop telling people you're in relationships with when you're being logical versus when you're being emotional. Because it is implied when you say that you are all knowing, essentially. That you should be the person who defines how things are.
I've had situations when someone convinced me that it's not logical, and then I agreed.
But that's still you being the definer who received an appeal and then you changed your definition. You now I agree with you. Fine, I agree with you, my servant. That's not you giving up the power. That's just you changing your mind.
Would you say that this is if I can be okay, the language even
Dictate.
forming the sentence, yeah. Yeah, but I feel like okay, so every conversation could for every conversation is a power struggle. Like every because if I'm talking about I don't really see a difference in like determining whether or not something is logical and like debating some
This is
topic or
definitely
like my
anxiety as well.
opinions on
Sure,
anything.
yeah.
I'm not really like
The difference is that if you're
attached to it.
the difference is that I think you are attached to it, clearly.
Really?
What?
Yes. The difference is that when you're debating something, you are
She hasn't even
co-creating
detailed
reality
out a
with the other
scenario.
person.
Just
You're
ask
saying,
her
well,
for
we
an
have your views and we
example.
have my views, and let's see what happens. Maybe they'll combine, or they will be irreconcilable, or maybe you'll change your mind. But when you say, by the way, my views are logical, you're not just presenting your views,
Okay, never
you're
mind.
also
Mr. Girl gives
acting
crap
as a
advice.
third
What?
party, as an arbiter of whether your own views are correct. You're playing now two roles in the conversation, and one of those roles is the one you're complaining about, of
You're overthinking
arbiter
it.
or
This is
facilitator or
overthinking.
mediator.
I feel like
Third
this is
party
overthinking
who
it.
decides who's right and what's real.
Oh no.
Okay, I
Never
understand.
take
Maybe
relationship
I
advice
don't
from
know if
Mr.
I
Girl, I
fully
guess.
agree
Oh
because
my god.
I feel like I can be, yeah, I can be easily convinced, but if someone wants to be confrontational with me, and if there's like a little fraction of people that would want that, because I've had those like
Okay.
relationships that I had one partner who was like confrontational, and we would have like even we used the same system, and he used it too, and it was like good for me because we would both like when I feel something, I would say I feel that this is logical and emotional for me. Yeah, I feel it's funny in that statement because of your view, but and he would say no, it's not logical, and then we would argue, and sometimes I would agree, sometimes he would agree.
Who would you
But
rather who would you rather confront about your emotions? The partner who's like all of my thoughts and feelings are all intermingled. I can't define the difference between either. All we have are just feelings, or the person who, you know, the first thing they're going to do when you say that you're angry at them is going to divide your complaints, your thoughts, and your feelings into logic and emotion, and then start an argument with you about whether your complaints are logical or not.
But I
And then
don't
you're
mind
complaining
that.
that people don't want to fight with you. But I'm saying, if you want people to fight with you more or be more confrontational with you, I don't think you can have this like running tally on whose feelings make sense.
Yeah, I feel like I would rather have the partner that would like yeah argue with me, because I feel like just because if someone feels like their emotions like are intertwined and everything can be anything, and I really care about the person, I feel like I might be prone to be manipulated, because if something hurts my partner, and like I've had this situation, for me it's not very like
But
intuitive or
this
logical,
is a
but I would
failure of regulation.
regulation.
You're saying that you
Why
set
regulation?
boundaries. You're saying that you set boundaries by defining some things as logical versus emotional.
Yeah, but yeah, if
But that
Yeah.
just means that you can't handle feeling guilty. And so you're firewalling a sense of responsibility by saying, I don't have to deal with that because they're just being emotional. Instead of,
no, I didn't say that I don't have to. No, I deal with that obviously, and I'm
I thought
I
you
would,
said that you'd be manipulated if you didn't divide things.
yeah, because I would compromise, and I feel like maybe I could compromise on too many things. Like if someone
But you're
like
doing that because you feel bad saying no.
no, I don't think so.
Well,
I
then
just
why
feel
would,
like because when I value like the cost, like if my partner would be extremely like euphoric if I did something, even though it's not like it's inconvenient for me, but they say that they would be euphoric about it, I would probably do it, and I feel like I could do a lot of things like that, but not because I'm not like if something was really bad for me, I would say no, hard no, it's not like a problem for me, but I feel like I could be buried under some like little like death by 1,000 cuts, something like that. Maybe that's just the feeling that I have. I don't know. I didn't. Nobody defined their like state
Oh
of mind like
man.
this before, so that's just what came up. But yeah, I would
people
probably
pleasing?
agree. I wouldn't say people pleasing. It cannot be people pleasing if it's just like pleasing one person, because I'm not really.
This is a lot of assumptions about someone who has not detailed out again, all right? Like this is a lot of assumptions about someone who is not detailed out everything, right? Yeah, like again, I find it kind of silly, I guess, that Mr. Girl is drawing upon all of these things without enough information in the first place. Um, I think that's silly. That's obviously very silly, but
A people pleaser like in like
yeah.
group settings. Usually, I wouldn't describe myself like that. Even in relationships, if something is a hard no, I just pass on it. Like I have like clear things that I want, but I could be inconvenienced
Yeah,
if
why no
someone like
examples?
wanted
Yeah, why
me.
no
You know,
examples?
like
Like, okay, it could be the case that she is just completely crazy and she's a BBD chick and, you know, she like it could be I'm just saying it could entirely be that case, okay, but but we don't know that, it could also be the case that she is in fact like a victim of like all the past traumas and stuff like that, and we just do not know about that. But the thing is that we just don't know any of that. We don't know any of this or that or anything, so we can't form any kind of solid statement here because it would be irresponsible to do so given the fact that we just don't have enough information, right?
Drive a long way, like a lot of times a week. It's like an inconvenience for me, but it's not like a hard
know.
boundary of mine. And if someone would be euphoric about it, and if their emotions are like, they cannot be like, they are so subjective that there's nothing like that we can measure it. Like, measure it is a bad word, but the logical emotional system kind of works like this for me even. So if like I feel mad,
I think what you're saying puts you at much greater risk of being manipulated.
Why?
Huh?
Because all somebody has to do is convince you that something makes sense, and that your feelings don't make sense.
Yeah, but I still, then I would say I need like, yeah, if something is, yeah, but if something is too yeah, but I have some illogical things that I would say, for example, I need reassurance over, like, I don't really like when someone's looking at their phone when they are talking to me. It's not very logical, but it just ticks me off because I don't know, my parents didn't listen to me when I was little. And it's an ask that I make of my partner. Obviously, they can say no, but if they were doing it too much, I would probably break up because it would be pretty uncomfortable for me. So I feel like, I don't know, even if it's not logical, sometimes I can like agree with myself that I can have some boundaries that are not strictly logical, but usually I'm not lashing out at my partner, but I'm just telling them, hey, it's not like you did something really bad, but I'm overly sensitive to this or that, because I feel like it's not that big of a situation that someone is looking at their phone during a conversation, but I can feel like a little bit sad about it. So it's not something it's not something they did, it's how I feel. And if I'm, maybe that's
I
the
know,
better way
but that's just an arbitrary distinction that you're making, that you keep making throughout all this.
Yeah, I
So
think.
some of your feelings make sense and some of them don't.
Yeah, you
I mean,
abusive
they still
piece of
make sense
shit.
to me, but I cannot
I'm saying you
blame
don't. There is
my
no
partner.
Woman, am I
non-emotional way
right?
for you to make that evaluation. All you're doing is looking at it from different angles, calling some of your feelings thoughts, calling some of your emotional resonance a logical audit, and then
It's like a system, kind of. Yeah.
it's not. I don't think it's a real system, though. I just think it's
Yeah, it's
it's a system of you trying to control what is happening around you. And then you're seeing the downsides of this and complaining about them. And I'm saying I don't think you can have it both ways. I think that you're going to be stuck in this parent caretaking role that you are saying you don't want to be in until you let go of the power of definition.
yeah, but okay, but I feel like I created this system like pretty recently, and I've had this problem before. Do you think that it was still there, but I just didn't name it?
Yes.
Okay. How would I then?
I think that you
Yeah.
have had a lot of your feelings.
She sounds like a people pleaser in general. Man, I wonder what is there any woman that's not a people pleaser? I feel like the uwu types are always people pleasers on God, and then they suffer for it, and they die. I don't know.
Dismissed through your life, and you're trying to, in your own way, bottle up some of your anger or contain some of your
Epic
anger
stuff.
and neediness around that.
I'm not sure because I usually tell people when I feel this stuff. How would I battle it out?
I don't think
Like
you know bottling it up by bottling up some of your feelings as thoughts and logic. There's like a lack of vulnerability there. Where you're like, I want to have a conflict, but some of the things I think and feel are just true and real.
I mean,
Wait, what? So you should gaslight your partner into saying that you're correct and wait, what? Bro, wait, hold on. What? Wait, so you should just gaslight your partner into saying that what like you're just correct and there should be no other explanation, or like what exactly is bro, dude, I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Is MrGirl like what is going on? This sucks. Bro, you know what? Maybe I should open the fucking advice line, dude. Jesus Christ. This is so like retarded.
if someone like cheated on me, right? I can define that it happened. it made me feel like this, and this. So that I would describe as a logical thing, and obviously to be upset about. But maybe
But
some like
but you're already doing it in the you've defined it in the premise.
So I've been saying viewer call-ins with Destiny. No, no. That would be boring content. Okay, nobody wants to watch that bullshit.
You're saying they cheated on you. So if I accept the premise, then I agree they cheated, and presumably they agree they cheated. So there's a situation where everybody already agrees what happened. But
yeah.
cheating is not so easily defined.
You think so? Like at the start of the relationship, you usually define what do you think is cheating, and like all
Him and Erudite used to do it, yeah, and it went nowhere.
other like relationship stuff. I would
Yeah,
say so.
You're
but it's
welcome.
like
I was pretty upfront with my partner about what cheating is to me at the beginning of the relationship, and he was with me, so I feel like I wouldn't have this problem because we like have it in our relationship
Oh, fuck. She said he. Okay, maybe she could still be bisexual.
agreement, like imaginary in our heads, but yeah.
the
Is there
edge of
something
what is
happened?
cheating is pretty blurry.
Yeah, but if it's not something agreed upon, yeah, before I feel like there would be a talk about it, right?
You're
like the
referring,
logical
okay,
thing is
you're taking a situation where everybody was likely to have the same opinion and then treating that as though it means that you have the ability to independently, logically audit something and decide what happened. So yes, if you say, my partner had intercourse with somebody else, everybody is going to agree that that is cheating, but that doesn't mean that you are logically able to objectively determine that that happened. It's still a subjective opinion that you are holding, and you're just imagining what other people would think about it.
yeah, it's like it's kind of like
Steven seems like a kind of calling guy. He doesn't want to get invested or listen for a long time to create a solution. He's a quick in, quick out guy. No, Collins was just like me going like, hey, Steven, Collins, this viewer has a question, and then him making a yo mama joke and him not actually seriously answering the question, and then, you know, that's literally, bro, fuck me. I don't know, dude.
grounding yourself. I would feel, I feel you're kind of in a point when like I feel like maybe in my childhood a lot of my feelings were dismissed and I was pretty unregulated, but then I had like I could ground myself
Wow,
in
thank
like
you, Steven.
like what's a normal thing that
The
people would be
10th
upset
yo
about,
mama
and then
joke. Nice, good
what's
one.
something abnormal, and the abnormal would go to the emotional side, and then I'm not mad about like I'm usually just communicating what I need. Like I need reassurance, or I
Okay,
need
so
something.
I think you're in a situation where you're part of your regulation is dependent on you having this power. And then you are also seeing a downside to having this power, which is that you end up being a parent to your partner.
Probably. How would you say like other regulation would look like if it's not grounding yourself in like reality and social norms? I feel like even if I'm like outside of the social norm, I'm usually would be like aware of it, and then I would say to
Well,
like I know it's pretty out of the norm, but I feel that way, or I think something.
Okay, you forget to consider that Collins are really boring, no? I feel like Collins are just really boring overall. Like, can you just imagine like a bunch of people just calling in and they'll, I like,
Just like this, but I
what am I
understand that
supposed to
you
do?
may not feel the same way because it's pretty
Uh,
like it's an opinion that is pretty unique, or a feeling that is pretty unique in this situation.
I think it's
Like
I think that this kind of regulation is like a form of self-dismissal or self-abandonment, where you're saying, yeah, I'm upset about this, but everybody would disagree with me, so I'm wrong.
yeah, but sometimes I just say, yeah, everybody would disagree with me, so I understand that you
2 hours
may not
out? What do you mean?
intuitively feel that way, but I feel that way, and maybe I will need us to like talk about it and work our boundaries. And I, for example, have this situation with like jealousy. I don't feel like jealousy usually over that my partner is going to leave me, but I feel like
The Collins of Destiny? Yeah, DG chat, whose opinion means less than nothing to me. Except when they like me.
I'm jealous about the resources. Like if I would be jealous if like my partner would prefer to like spend more time.
Half the Collins were your viewers? Dude, see, that's my viewers, okay? My viewers are the ones pulling the weight, okay? That's what I've been saying, all right?
with someone, but not because they might steal them away, but because I feel, yeah, you understand the concept? Like it's not really, maybe not.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, there's a distinction in my head, and it's pretty abnormal from what from my experience in relationships. People usually are just jealous because they feel like someone's going to leave them or abandon them. And I'm more like moved about I call it resources. So this is pretty abnormal, and I usually am upfront about, like, I understand that this may be weird to you, but I feel this way, and we can negotiate around it. Do you think it's still like kind
Yeah,
of?
it's just again, it's just you making the audit of, let's decide whose feelings make sense, which feelings make sense, and then once that's defined, we'll proceed from there. There's an enormous amount of power in that decision, and it sounds like you're making the decision as part of a way to like stay sane and stay in control of yourself and your feelings.
Stay safe. Yeah,
Kind of.
maybe kind
It
of.
sounds like you have this part of you that's like a screaming, tantrum throwing baby that you are constantly keeping at bay by being like, no, you can't scream about that. That doesn't make sense. We'll get angry about something reasonable instead. Something that is a lot.
I think the way that MrGirl gives advice, like he could be right, but like the way he gives advice feels as though like he's overthinking the way that he needs to communicate about it. It's really just as simple as like willing to be courteous and communicative and not try to resent the other person and trying to I don't know, detail out things and willing to fight on some issues. I don't know. Like this just seems like overthinking to me and stuff, but you know, I could be wrong. You know, what do I know about relationships, right? But
Logical to be angry about.
Wouldn't you say it would be more unfair if for example, yeah, I have this like jealousy thing, right? And I would have a partner, and how would I would just, how would I tell them without this whole like packing it up in this framework? If I like
I
feel
I'm
yeah.
feeling jealous. And I feel
And they would
jealous.
say it's super weird because like why would you feel jealous about that?
I'll just say,
What if someone didn't like understand right away, and I would have to explain this thing again?
I'll just say,
How can
here's why I feel jealous. I feel jealous because you're paying attention to this other person, and I want you to pay attention to me.
Yeah, my first thought is that it's unreasonable by most people's standards, so maybe I should package it like I would be upfront. I know it's unreasonable, but
No.
like it's
is
the
she
first
being
thing that comes
cheated
to my
on?
mind.
No, because that's a self dismissal and it's a defensive posture, and it's actually it's really controlling.
You
Still,
think so?
it's still, yes, it's controlling to define what is reasonable and unreasonable about your own emotions.
But is it controlling to me or the other person? Because intuitively,
Both.
I would feel that it's more controlling.
Both. I think you have a
me.
system of emotional regulation that requires you to define reality for other people in relationships, and then you're also complaining about the fallout of that, which is that other people look to you to define reality. It's too much control, but it sounds like you are not able to regulate your emotions without doing that.
Maybe I can. Yeah, I mean, but if I'm feeling emotional, yeah, in the system, in the framework,
yeah,
I just sit with it, and it gets better. So it's like, so I don't know, or I meditate or something. Like it's not difficult to, but maybe it's because of.
But this is the same thing that all those people that you're complaining about being resentful, they're doing the same thing. They just have a much higher bar for when something is worth bothering somebody about.
No, but I tell people that I'm emotional. It's not like
It doesn't really matter.
Why no? Because if
because you're still, it's not really, because there's still too much power and control, and it's not a real confrontation when you're like, hey, listen, I know that I'm completely fucking insane and this doesn't make any sense, and it's not real or logical. I'm feeling jealous, but I know it's stupid, and like, don't worry about it.
But it's not like it's. I don't mean it like it's stupid, because I don't feel it's stupid. I'm just trying to
emotional. I'm exaggerating to make my point.
Yeah. But I don't feel that way. I'm doing it, so I don't blame the other person, because I feel like in a lot of the relationships that I observed.
I know, but you're deciding who is to blame.
But like, if I was emotional.
I will say it seems as though I don't know. I don't know if she is ever considering it from a perspective of I want to actually fix the situation. Does that make sense, guys? Like it seems as though the way that she is describing all of it, it's really hard, just mainly because she doesn't describe anything, I don't know, actually substantial. But like, is there any situation, is there any kind of perspective that she is describing things as if like, oh yeah, um I want to fix this issue, this is how I'm going to fix it, and I really want to fix it, which is why I want to fix it? Has there been any scenario where she described it as that? Because this does kind of begin to sound like it is a her problem because of the way that she thinks about things. The way that she thinks about things is, okay, I have emotions, I'm acting upon these emotions, but she's never thinking about things as I want to fix this problem in our relationship, right? Yeah, it's literally she wants to be validated in her own thinking. Exactly. Yeah. But I wonder if she ever considers it a part of her perspective that it is actually her issue, right? That's what I'm wondering. What I'm wondering is it the case that she would consider it to be her problem, right? That it would be her fault, right? Yeah. BBD check detected. I'm kidding, joking.
Like people blame each other
She could be fishing for just breakup, dude. Yeah, but that's also kind of abusive in of itself, right?
for shit. Like if I, right? Like don't you ever blame anyone for anything? Like if you feel emotional that someone did something to you, you don't like put
Yes,
blame
but I
on someone?
understand. I do, but I understand that I'm not able to externally validate that as logical.
Okay. But what is the difference in like besides of how are we? If
The
you
difference
feel
is that you're insisting that other people agree with your reality through a pre-expression logical audit of yourself.
Bro, I just want MrGirl to just simply begin and say, "You're raping them." Like he keeps on. I'm just so used to MrGirl doing something like that, like constantly going like, "You're raping them. This is what's happening. What's happening is that you're literally raping them. You are raping them. That's what you're doing. You are raping them. You're a rapist." Like he always goes to that at the end of the day, but you know, I could be hoping too much. Okay,
Where
it'll
you
be really
divide
funny
all of
though.
your feelings and thoughts into different categories and then process or express them accordingly. But in doing that, you are already exerting an enormous amount of parental or
You're
mediator
being a
power over
rapist.
the relationship where you're defining reality.
okay, but yeah, I do.
Dude, MrGirl just needs to say, have you ever considered you might just be wrong? But what if you're wrong? Right? Like he needs to do the Giga Chat thing and just say like, what if you're just wrong? Have you ever like considered that you might just be incorrect? Or do you feel as though you're constantly trying to fish attempts? You're trying to fish for reasons on why your feelings are validated. You're trying to fish for the right answer. You're trying to do a legal warfare court case, pixie style, against your partner, in which you're trying to conduct a legal fishing expedition in order to farm evidence, so then you can feel justified in the way that you're thinking. Have you ever considered that you might just be acting like Pixie?
Do that, right?
Yeah.
But usually when I like see people arguing, they usually are just like coming from the that I would call the logical perspective, even though it's sometimes emotional, right? Usually just people just blame each other and they like because they are themselves, they see their side of the story, so they are like
People get very defensive just about the fact that they're having an emotion at all. People
yeah.
get
So
angry, and then as soon
Yeah,
as they get angry,
dork,
they start feeling guilty that they're
nerd.
angry, and then they start wanting to, yeah, at the same time that they're expressing anger, they're also trying to justify it to you and to themselves.
yeah, but isn't like
See, this is what happens, okay? You never fall for the ones with the nice voices, okay? Whenever there's a girl with a nice voice and they're very ooh-woo friendly, okay? They're always the ones that are crazy, okay? Never fall for the girls with the ooh voices, okay? The ooh voices are crazy, bro. On God, all right? But listen, okay? I get it. Okay, I understand. You want the uwu girl, okay? Because the uwu girl is cute. Okay, the uwu girl is cute. But the uwu girl is immature. Okay, the ooh girl is immature and manipulative. Okay, you got to be careful. Okay, you can't fall for the ooh girls. All
The
right.
normal, the normal.
See, now that was a crazy laugh. That's a crazy girl laugh. If I can ever sense it. Okay, that is a crazy girl laugh. Red flag all around. Okay.
Situation is that if two people are having conflict,
yeah.
right? They both are coming from
Fix it.
like
Yeah.
when they are
That's
mad
what
at
they
their
all
partner,
say.
for example, they feel like you did something that made me mad, right? And from their perspective, it's like it's the logical, like the logical perspective.
What if she's projecting? Has anybody thought about that? What if she's actually projecting? What if? What if? What if she's projecting?
Perspective in my framework, but sometimes
I just seems like
Yeah.
there's an assumption that the person has to know that they're not crazy, but they can't know.
yeah. So like people just live like this, like uncertain about because how
Well, you are not ready for a relationship unless you're ready to sit and be comfortable with uncertainty. You are not ready for a relationship if you have such anxiety issues as to which you are uncomfortable sitting in silence with yourself. If you are unable to purge these thoughts or be used to these thoughts in any way, or you lack the capability to do it, you are not ready for a relationship. The only reason you want to get into a relationship is because you're in love with the idea of falling in love with Prince Charming. You aren't actually in love with Prince Charming. You're in love with the romantic tale of falling in love. You view relationships in that manner, and you cause other people to suffer for it. You cannot be helped except by life experience, okay?
can I be mad at someone if they didn't do anything wrong? Oh, that's a
This
good question
this
for the framework.
presumes that your anger.
It actually sounds like she wants someone emotionally mature, but she's not getting it with this guy, and so she's trying to do both sides. Low, it's very obvious now. I think, okay, I think she is. She sometimes it do be like that.
Is the result of a logical audit that you have determined that someone did something wrong before
Hopefully
you got
that
angry.
helps. You're welcome.
And I'm saying it just sounds like a form of self-denial and self-abandonment, and like it's coming from someone who's been dismissed a lot in their life. They get angry, and someone says, "Oh, it doesn't make sense."
You
that
have
you're
to have
angry.
something better to do than spam
So,
my
no
channel.
one's gonna
But it's
listen to
me
this.
that's saying that nobody like
Chill.
I feel
I
like maybe my
don't.
parents in the past.
Yes,
but like,
yes.
Yeah.
It sounds like your parents did this, and now you've repackaged it and are doing it to yourself under
Yeah.
the
kinda.
guise of
But
logic. But the downside of it is that it
Yes,
parentifies
excellent.
you in your relationships.
I don't know if I mean like I'm not sure if this is the thing that parentifies me because like people they I feel like
My mom is kind of homeless. Any advice? Send me her address. Get it? Because she's homeless. She doesn't have one.
that's what I said before. People are usually when they just say I'm mad at you, they mean my logical perspective of being mad at someone. And what difference does it make in like normal interactions if someone says I'm mad at you and it's basically the same that like if I say like in my head I say in my framework you did something and I felt bad and it was like I could judge it like by the like social norms and
But those
grounding myself.
your evaluation of the social norms. First of
Yeah,
all,
but
you can
it
find
doesn't
10
show for
million people who will agree with anything. Like, I could film myself slapping Shaylin across the face, and I could find 10 million people who are like, this is completely appropriate, and I completely agree.
Why did you bring up that specific example? You know what? I'm not gonna overthink it. Okay.
So
It's
social
fine.
norms
then you
is
can
pretty
talk about
broad.
it. Yeah,
Slapping
but then
Shailen
you can
across the
talk about
face.
it, right?
Okay.
And usually people just
Oh boy.
say I'm mad at you because you did this, and now usually people like talk
Your
about
your
it. Right?
your sense of social norms, what other people think, what's normal, and what's weird, are all filtered through your emotional lens. I don't think there's a way around this.
Yeah, yeah.
Your radar is purely emotional.
Squad W. Squad
Yeah, but also it's like
W.
made by observation, and observations are emotional. Like seeing something in your eyes
You're a
can be
woman.
Your
emotional.
interpretation of everything you see is emotional. You don't have another steering wheel. And by pretending that you do, you dismiss a lot of
I
your
would just say that
feelings and dismiss
the
a lot of other people's feelings in the process.
the feeling of the observer is just way different than other feelings. Like when you observe, like when I'm feeling a lot of emotions and I'm in the situation where I'm sitting and I'm observing what's happening to me, like the feeling of observing is extremely different from like any other feeling, like even anger, like love, hate, like crying,
Right?
sadness, even like being bored. It's like maybe that's why I make a distinction in my head, but it doesn't really matter. It can be it can be emotional.
I
That's
don't
why I
think
said
that's real. I think this is
that it feels different to me.
it's an artificial partition that you've created to withdraw.
I feel like she's not even considering the possibility she could be like she could be wrong. She's not even entertaining the possibility that she could be incorrect. I think it's another big red flag. And these red flags are not visible flags until you have talked with them about this kind of stuff long enough. Does that make sense, guys? Like you can only determine this woman's red flags um only after you've talked to her long enough. And she gives enough red flags to the point where like you can tell, right? Um Man, yeah. Why do all my relationships fail? Why are all my partners abusive? Well, what's the lowest common denominator?
To a place of faux safety, but I don't think it's real.
Yeah, and like emotions, is it more
I
less
think you're
real than other emotions?
I think you're just talking about dissociating.
No. How?
Yes.
No, I wouldn't say
Yes.
so.
I would.
Okay, how would you define
Yes.
dissociation? Maybe I just have a different like image of the word.
Retreating into a place in yourself where you are not in the rollicking seas of your emotions, but you are calm, in control, and you know what's happening. Collected.
Okay, I feel like a dissociation. I felt like because sometimes dissociation is like I've experienced it, but when I was like maybe little, when I would just like feel really, really out of place, like. But it's not. Yeah, I maybe.
This is just it's a different way of leaving your body that makes it seem like you're highly focused and attentive, but it sounds like you're withdrawing.
Is it? Would you say
to me?
It's unhealthy, or is it bad? Because like dissociation, I mean, maybe that's why I reacted like that. Because
I think it's a coping mechanism, but I think the bad part is that it comes with this downside, where you're.
What if are these his new vids or old ones? These are old ones that I have not caught up on. I need to catch up because I enjoy watching this particular channel. It could just be MrGirl. I enjoy watching this particular channel because it posts MrGirl content that is from Rumble without MrGirl getting banned. So I'm able to consume it, but I'm just catching up on all the old stuff. She's also taking away from her partner any right for them to feel differently about the validity of her feelings. Precisely. One thing that I've just kind of noticed, again, over the course of this entire conversation is that she is never considering the conversation from the feelings of her partner. Nor is she ever considering the conversation from the perspective of she might be wrong. Have you guys noticed that? She never considers, number one, the feelings of her partner, only the feelings of herself, and she always begs the question. Well, like she always assumes that she's correct in every situation. I don't know, man. That seems like a lack of self-reflection or using like fucking pseudo psych shit in order to mask up your immaturity in relationships. But hey,
You're being very.
she's a woman with an attractive voice. She doesn't have to consider that, and that's why I am sexist. That's what I'm saying, bro.
But would you say that other like characteristics
It's very
of
compartmentalized.
Sexism.
can also, because I don't know if just this framework is the main reason for this. I feel like it may contribute, but I feel like just
I disagree. She seems considerate. That better be
being
sarcastic.
like disagreeable or like pretty confrontational, this would be the part that makes me kind of like the leader in a lot of like social
Considerate
challenging
how?
conversations.
I guess if she's considerate of herself, then sure, I
I would
guess
say that
so.
it could, in my head,
She's
it's a
considerate of
bigger
herself, sure.
part of like of the situation that I can be a leader. It can be, there can be like I feel like there's like unfair power distribution and I feel guilty. But I would say that these are, I feel more guilty about being like maybe disagreeable than I do about the framework, and I don't think that people notice the framework.
Another red flag, okay? Something else I feel like is that seems bad, okay? Um she keeps on describing things through the perspective of her guilt. Not that there's anything intrinsically wrong with it, but whenever people act upon feelings of guilt, it could end up hurting more people than you desire. You shouldn't be acting off like you shouldn't be acting off of guilt. You should be acting off of productivity and consideration of other people's emotions. That's how you should be acting, right? If you operate off of guilt, guilt can drive you to do stupid, insecure shit all the time. Or guilt can make you mentally spiral out of control and do self destructive shit. So you shouldn't be operating from this framework of, I have this guilt, right? And I want to alleviate the sense of guilt. You shouldn't do that.
If I don't say it explicitly,
Anyway.
so I don't know how would like,
If people don't get mental health advice from a person like MrGirl, well, get it from me instead, okay? You're welcome.
how would something that I
Hope
just
that
think
helps.
make such a reaction on them. I feel like they can notice before my framework. They can notice that I can be like confrontational, and usually my friend group usually would see me like, if there is a problem, I would rather like just talk about it than
Look,
Then-
if
Not
you need
not
this thing,
burnout. Not
I
burnout.
I don't think I can convince you.
I know,
I'll explain
let it go.
in a bit.
But-
it was a separate thing. It was very
No, your
interesting
question
to
is
talk about
you're wondering if you can, maybe there's a way you can compartmentalize your compartmentalization
no,
so that
it
nobody
wasn't.
notices it and it doesn't matter.
No. I just said no. I don't think that it doesn't matter. I feel like this conversation was really interesting. The part about the observer being a feeling, but it feels different to me. It's interesting, and I feel like it can give me a lot
You're
to
just
think about.
labeling your feelings as observational or logical.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what was. I'm just trying to recap what I thought was interesting, and to say that the thing that I was saying before wasn't to like destroy the point of our conversation before. I was just wondering if people notice that, or people notice first the other parts of my
I
personality.
don't know if they'll consciously notice it.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like I feel like intuitively they would notice like other.
I mean, you knew that I would
characteristics
notice it. You flagged it before you said it, but I do think that whether they notice it or not, there is a extreme rigidity and compartmentalization that comes across.
there. Rigidity.
Rigidity.
Yeah, it feels. This word felt good when you said it, but I think that is the point of the conversation, kind.
Oh no. Oh no. She has a cute laugh. It's so cooked. Dude, it's so cooked, guys. It's so cooked. She has a cute laugh. Bro. Dude. I feel bad for the next guy, okay?
of. Rigidity feels cool.
Yeah.
There is no
safe.
resisting. It's
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, I would say so. It's interesting. I don't know how would. Yeah, we've already talked about it. It's interesting because like imagining my life without it would be extremely weird. Like, yeah. Like wondering if you're sane or not all the time in every situation.
Well, you just don't know. I mean, you don't have to wonder. It's not.
But what if I
solvable.
make a wrong choice and I blame someone? It's like super unfair.
You'll never know.
towards them.
You'll never know if that happened. All you have is a running opinion.
I'll explain my own personal, because I've had some personal experiences when it comes to guilt, and I'll explain like actual examples of me feeling so much guilt to the point where it destroys other people around me as well. And it comes from like a sense of inner guilt right? I'll explain. Don't worry, okay? But
Do you
Can't
think like
know.
everything is subjective? And
Yes.
are you okay?
I got you.
It's interesting. Do you think like most people are like are you a moral relativist?
I don't know.
What?
I mean, I guess I have to be
No.
if I think everything's subjective, right?
Yeah, but you may feel like but you feel emotions are everything. Yeah, sorry. I'm just it's sometimes difficult to switch between like my framework and your framework. Like I understand it, but intuitively I'm always going to be like thinking first about my framework. I would say, because I wanted to say that maybe you can feel this way about feelings but not morals, but like everything is the same.
Yeah.
I would say so. But do you think like morality is feelings?
Yeah.
And just that? Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's not. No, okay, never mind. Now I disagree with MrGirl too. I mean, not that I've always disagreed with him and thinks that he gives like horrible advice, but like I'm just saying, this is, dude. What? No, morality isn't just feelings. Oh my god, dude.
I mean, I kind of feel this way too, but it's like feelings
Oh no, it's just like a bunch of girls gaslighting one another.
and framework. So it's like I don't want to be killed, so I forbid everyone from killing each other, and it's just a feeling. And then we have a framework, so
This is so cringe.
that's what I said, or like with like property or something. Like I don't want someone to steal from me. That's a feeling. So then I create.
By the way, like for example, social contract theory is like a philosophical morality kind of based theory, but none of it is like based off of emotion. Does that make sense? None of that theory, none of that like fundamental like societal agreement is based off of feelings, right? It's purely based off of we all follow a set of rules, but if you try to take away someone's if you try to take away someone's personal space or you try to infringe upon someone else's right, you break the social contract theory, so therefore you're not worthy of moral consideration anymore, right? That is not emotion based. That's not emotion based. Okay, like you can argue that emotions could cause someone to fail the social contract theory, or like you can say that emotions cause someone to break the social contract theory or something like that, but you can never argue like, oh yeah, emotions is like an intrinsic part of social contract, or you can argue that yeah, it's very silly, obviously, but
The law that nobody can steal, and it's the
Yes.
framework.
like he's just wrong. He's just like straight up incorrect. He's wrong. Not everything is just a matter of feelies.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm supposed
So
to just live in the
cringe.
world like I don't want anyone
Cringe.
to steal, and I'm not putting any framework on that. I'm just hoping that they wouldn't. That they don't feel like stealing is okay.
Cringe alert.
But stealing is just an example, right? Yeah, we have laws, but like on emotional stealing.
Yeah.
Okay, that was really
I'm
interesting.
at
I really
peace.
like this conversation.
I hated it.
Well, good.
I fucking hated
Yeah,
it. It fucking
I think I'm gonna
sucked.
be calling.
Okay?
Maybe
This is
any other
horrible.
hotlines. I really
I
like
hate
Okay.
it.
Well,
I'm a sexist.
I'm here.
Okay, so see you sometime or hear you sometime.
MrGirl, run away as far as possible, okay? Run the fuck away, okay? This girl's into you now, okay? You gotta listen, okay? Run the fuck away, okay? I'm trying to save your own hide, okay? You're gonna have another crazy crash out.
Okay. Sounds good. Oh, I don't have my camera on. I forgot.
Oh, sorry.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I
god.
didn't.
Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Oh my god. Oh my god. Run. Run. Just run, okay? Both of these people are dangerous, okay? Both of these people are dangerous. Run the fuck away.
Remind
Okay,
you.
on God.
But I'm just looking around my room. So,
Yeah. See
Oh
you.
my
And,
god.
I
Oh
wanted
no.
to say one
Oh
more
no.
thing.
Oh my god. She has schizophrenia too. Oh my god. It's over.
I really, really enjoy your like video essays. I think that they
Oh
are
no.
really great, and I wanted
Oh
to
no.
maybe
Run.
on the next hotline
Run the
talk
fuck
about some
away.
other topics
Run.
about it. But
Get
I
away
feel
from
like
her.
they're really good work.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Bye.
A very enjoyable conversation. What? Okay, hold on. All right. Stop. Okay, you should never evaluate whether or not you should do something based off of your feelings of guilt, okay? I think the only thing you should ever say is like, "Oh yeah, I feel guilty and I understand these are feelings that may or may not coincide with valid feelings I should have or whatever the fuck, but like, yeah, I don't know. Okay, I'll give an example. Okay, so for example, I have OCD, right? So I have OCD. I have feelings of guilt. OCD, when it comes to OCD, your feelings of guilt can be greatly amplified, just simply because it's such a huge anxiety disorder. It's such a crazy anxiety disorder. Um, and OCD will make you feel guilty. Like, for example, I have confession compulsion, right? And whenever I hear about somebody cheating on homework or cheating on an exam, I feel the compulsion to tell the professor about it, right? So therefore, I feel guilt on behalf of that person to snitch, right? I feel guilt because I feel as though I have a moral obligation to tell the professor, to tell another person that, oh yeah, this person is cheating on their exam, right? However, that's not necessarily the moral thing to do, because the moral thing to do is probably not to snitch, because in the grand scheme of things, it's better for them to, like, you don't know what they're going through, you don't know whether or not, like, what basically, it's none of your business, you shouldn't be doing any of that crazy stupid shit, right? So my guilt could drive me to ruin people, right? Or yeah, it's just not good, right? But you're not actually thinking about it in a logical way. I mean, the thing is that it could also be the case. It could also be the case that um uh 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 that you should report the person, right? It could be the case that you should report the person. But even when you're operating off of guilt, you may or may not be correct. You're not always correct, and you're not always wrong, but you don't want to take that coin flip. Why the fuck would you take that coin flip? Because you're operating based off of feelings of guilt. You're not actually operating based off of your framework or anything like that. You're not, yeah. It's not, yeah. So assess if the guilt is justified and act accordingly. No, I think that you should try to minimize guilt as much as possible, because that's like one of the only ways you can view a situation objectively. Because guilt really fucks up your perception of the situation. Um, yeah. If anything, guilt really fucks up your perception of the situation. Absolutely, super fucks it up. Super fucks up your perception of the situation. We need a Socratic dialogue with reality. Um, I don't know, dude. Yeah, I don't know. Another thing is like, let's just say you have confession compulsion, okay? And you are on a date with a girl. You feel the compulsion to tell her and to vent to her about your horrible childhood, okay? You feel the compulsion to vent to her about your horrible childhood. Um, the reason why that's bad is because generally on the first date, you definitely should not do that, because it turns them off. They are put off by it. You shouldn't be divulging that kind of personal stuff yet, but you're just trauma dumping, right? Because you're in a date, then you're a crush, you're nervous, and whatever. But you feel the you feel the compulsion to confess your backstory to the person, right? And any potential bad things that you have done, right, in the past. Well, the thing is that that obviously hurts you, because you are fumbling a bad chick, okay? But it could also be the case that you're also hurting the other person, because they don't want to hear that shit, okay? They don't want to hear that shit, and you're ruining it. So, um, but if you don't say all of that, you feel guilty. So what you're actually doing is ultimately a very selfish thing, right? The reason why you're selfish is because you're not considering the emotions of the girl, and you're not considering yourself, because when you confess due to guilt like that, when you feel guilt and that forces you to trauma dump, you hurt yourself and you hurt the person sitting across from you. Okay? So that is what happens when you operate things from a guilt framework. Okay? Yeah. I think there is utility to guilt. I think when you feel guilty, that could be an indication. That could be an indication that there might be something wrong. But outside of that, guilt is a very useless emotion. It is actually unironically one of the most useless feelings you could ever feel. Guilt is actually one of the most useless feelings. I'm pretty sure guilt can even cause you to do more negative things towards people as well. Like for example, if you kill someone and you feel guilty, that guilt could drive you to further kill another person because you feel as though you feel so downtrodden and you feel so depressed that you feel as though you are the worst kind of person. So if you feel guilty and you bash yourself, and you feel like you cannot improve, then what is one more person? What is one more person? Right? What is one more person to kill? Right? So yeah, guilt is not a good is not a good emotion. Like I've never ever heard of a study, nor have I ever heard of any psychologist, nor have I ever heard of any therapist, any kind of expert, none whatsoever, that ever says that guilt is a positive thing to have. That guilt is useful in a substantive way outside of any small like good things. I've never heard of that ever. Another thing is, whenever I see a therapist, and I've seen like I don't know, I think in total I've seen like four different therapists, and one psychiatrist or something. One psychiatrist and four therapists over the course of my lifetime. Um, 4 or 5, yeah, it doesn't matter. A lot. Never, ever, among all of them, with all of their differing viewpoints, have they ever argued that guilt is good. Ever. It's never happened. Never. Not once. Psychiatry, psychologist, different therapists, none of them argue that guilt is a good thing that you should feel and act on. Every single one of them is we need to minimize guilt. We need to work on minimizing guilt. We need to work on that, right? Yeah. But the fact, but then again, okay, if you're dating and the girl says, "Oh, I feel guilty about this. Oh, I act on guilt." It's fine if someone says, "I feel guilty about something." That's like not a big deal, generally speaking. That's really not a big deal, generally speaking. Okay, but if someone looks at every situation like that and every relationship issue and every single one of these situations through the perspective of the feeling of guilt, run the fuck away, okay? Run away, okay? Their problem is not yours to fix. I promise, okay? I absolutely promise that you don't want to deal with that, okay? Anyone with destructive guilt emotions, you may even end up dead. Who the fuck knows, okay? But I'm just saying that's how crazy bad like the emotion of guilt is, okay? But yeah. All right, good luck. Okay, all right. Right before I end the stream, glad you separate that from what you were saying before. What do you mean? Oh, yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah. Um, okay, I love you guys. But first of all, I just want to say, Mail in Shambles, true. Go to my YouTube channel. It's Snack Markets. Okay, youtube.com, whatever. Go and subscribe to Snack Markets. We need to get to 500. Heavily disagree. I think guilt is pretty important, especially for society. But I'm talking about from an personal and relationship basis, specifically. I'm talking about a personal and relationship basis. We're not talking about outside of that scope. So, yeah. So was Verso plagued with guilt? Yeah, I would argue so. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I would say so. OCD has ruined my life? Yeah, me too. Okay, it ruined my life until I fixed it. You're welcome. I mean, I still have OCD. It's not like you can cure it, but you know, I take medication. I completed my therapy rounds. You know, it's under control for years at this point. For Yeah, for more than a year at this point. I haven't had a crash out over OCD. Thank God, okay? Because crash outs over OCD really hurts people. But yeah. Um, oh yeah, you should talk more about that. Why? No, that stuff is boring. Like I can't spend every stream talking about myself.